then I will have served my purpose. And that's what this campaign is all about.
Just listening to you, it's clear that you have that thing that not all politicians have. You remember people's names, you remember where you were when you met them, and you remember their stories. You get very snarky national media coverage. Where's the disconnect?
I don't know. I tell you what, I spend very little time on Twitter right now, because when I'm meeting people and you're eyeball to eyeball and you're connecting in the most raw, honest, authentic way, there's something really powerful and magical about that. It's how you bring people together. And if this country has been more divided, never been more consumed by the digital devices that we hold in front of our face, it can be absolutely powerful to be together and to connect. To meet a 14-year-old middle school student in Newton, Iowa, who says, I'm sick of going into school wondering if I'm going to come back out again, because she understands we have an epidemic of gun violence in this country. I met this 12-year-old girl in Las Vegas, Nevada, Carola, who is moving to Mexico because both of her parents, longtime U.S. residents, are being deported. She's a U.S. citizen, and in a really direct way to me, she's not even old enough to vote. She's like, look, Beto, I don't want to hear excuses. I don't want to hear platitudes. I just want you to tell me how my family can be together again, how we make this country work right now. So I don't find that stuff on Twitter. I don't see that so much in the talking heads, but that urgency and that demand that we meet this moment with everything we've got and with every single one of us, that's what I'm finding in real day-to-day life across this country. So that's where I spend my time, where I find my inspiration, and what literally drives this campaign.
Let me just do a little bit of a lightning round with you. While we have you, I just want to get you in some of the news of the day. Donald Trump giving his attorney general the authority to declassify intel. Good idea, bad idea?
Really bad idea, and in a long line of attacks on the most fundamental institutions that have made this country the greatest on the face of the planet. You know, we had a preview of this in 2017 when he stood on that stage in Helsinki, Finland, and defended Vladimir Putin instead of this country and our intelligence community, when he accused the FBI of being a campaign arm of the Democratic Party. How does that feel for those members of federal law enforcement and the intelligence community who are consistently, day in, day out, putting their lives on the line for this country, to keep us safe and to pursue accountability, the necessary investigations, and the justice that guarantees that no man, no matter what position he holds, is above the law in this country? So his invitation of a foreign power to attack our democracy, his cover-up of it afterwards, his attorney general refusing to testify before Congress and calling that investigation an exercise in spying, this is really dangerous stuff for the greatest democracy the world has ever known. And if we fail to confront this in a meaningful, powerful way to ensure the justice necessary, we will have set an unforgivable precedent that will ruin and unravel this democracy for the generations that follow us. So this is a moment that counts for more than any other that I can imagine. And I want all of us, Republican, Democrat, Independent alike, to be up to this challenge. I
want to give you a chance to respond to some of the criticisms that are out there about you, but I want to get one more answer out of you on what you just described. With all that said, is Nancy Pelosi moving too slowly toward impeachment?
I just read about a case of contempt brought against Eric Holder during the Obama administration.
Yeah,
it took 8 or 9 years to wind its way through the courts. The only way we're going to get answers now is to move forward on impeachment. It's the only way you compel the documentation, the testimony, the truth, the facts, and then follow them as far as they go, as high up as they lead. You only get justice and you only prevent future attacks on this democracy if you take that last important option. And I think it's time for us to do that.
How do you push back against this notion that there's only room for either you or Mayor Pete Buttigieg in this race? It would seem that the Democratic Party is hungry enough for a win in 2020 for there to be room for both of you. But nonetheless, that is one of the media constructs around your candidacy. What's your pushback?
My pushback is the people who are coming out to our town halls and our visits across this country. I'm sure they're doing it with Mayor Pete as well. You would think with 24 candidates in this nomination process that people would be tired of this. Instead, you're seeing record turnout. Folks are curious. They want to hold us accountable. They want to ask questions of us, see how we answer, and then ensure that we have the best possible nominee, not only to defeat Donald Trump in 2020, but to bring this country together again in 2021. I think the number of candidates and the quality of candidates that you're seeing right now is a very good problem for the Democratic Party and for our democracy to have. We've got a lot of time before the first caucuses and the first primaries. So let's go out and meet those voters and allow them to make an informed decision going forward. So I think we're in a really good place right now, and just look forward to continuing to campaign in this way.
So I've straddled both sides of the campaign and now covering campaigns. Play media critic. What can we do better as those of us trying to cover your candidacies from very far away from where the first votes will be cast in Iowa and New Hampshire? Don't hold back.
This is a good question. Well, I'll tell you, it just is what it is, but we'll have an incredibly powerful town hall meeting, 10 or 12 amazing questions, people sharing their own stories, their testimonials that, help us to understand some of the challenges we face on affordability of prescription medication or this crisis in opioid overdose and abuse and death. And then afterwards, there will be members of the media who are there, especially the national media, who will ask me, a horse race question or, some kind of sensational dynamic going on that does not connect to the lives of the people that we all just had a chance to listen to and to meet. And so this is kind of like the question you asked about the disconnect between Twitter and what we see in these town halls. I think more engagement on those fundamental issues. How do I afford to ensure that I can take care of myself and fill this prescription? Or how do I guarantee that my child's going to go to a world-class public school by ensuring that we pay public school teachers a living wage? How do we confront climate change before it's too late and help our fellow Americans understand the devastation that we're seeing in the Central Valley of California, in Houston, Texas, along the Missouri and the Mississippi, in Iowa? These are the issues that are on people's minds right now. It's very infrequent that I am asked about one of those issues, present company excluded, by members of the media, especially when we're on the ground and on the trail. And I understand how captivating the horse race part of this can be, but I really feel that disconnect between what is often reported and what is often said in these town hall meetings. Hopefully our campaign can be the bridge for that, because we live stream this stuff so that anyone can tune in and be able to see it for themselves.
Well, listen, I'll leave you with some free advice. I used to spend a lot of time on campaigns. Grab Garrett, who is NBC's correspondent on your campaign, and tell him what's on your mind. If you don't like the coverage, you can change it. You're the candidate. Beto O'Rourke, thank you for spending some time with us. I hope you'll come back and keep this going. Let this be the beginning. I'm glad to have you.
Absolutely.